on the supply side of the off the boiler, we've got the pump and everything coming down and into the hydraulic separator. We end up having to do some creative piping on this application just because of the existing tank, because of some of the weird layouts that were originally done before I owned the home, and because of some future stuff that we're planning. We end up doing some stuff a little bit oddly, but the pump, the primary circulation pump, is installed there off the bottom of the boiler. That pump is actually the internal circulator on the Combi Instinct. So we happen to have one in stock, so I made use of that on the outside of the boiler to make the same primary loop. So that loop goes down and through the existing hydraulic separator, which we reused because it's going to be coming out next year. But we pipe in, we put the fittings onto that separator and start piping off the other side. So you can see off the bottom of the boiler, the tridicator gauge is installed, and we're kind of piping up toward that. So again, we're doing some back and forth planning with the Aquatherm, trying to figure out how we can fit everything. This is an extremely tight installation. The hydraulic separator is hard against the wall. So there's literally no space at all. So we have to be a little creative. The Aquatherm is best designed to be bench installed, but I made an error and did not order unions to add to the hydro separator because the Caleffi ones that we sell come with them, and I did not realize or really look that the original one in my home didn't have them. So we're now messing around a bit to deal with that. So here we are with the iron against the wall, carefully trying not to burn my house down, getting everything all tucked in, which really it isn't hard. Literally the iron's in place for a matter of 14 seconds. So each one of these joints, we're making really tight little connections. This is literally as difficult of an Aquatherm install as you could possibly do, just with all these crazy tight connections. So you'll see in between pieces of pipe, in some cases we've got 45s on 45s with an 1.5 inch piece of Aquatherm, which is the shortest we could make it, to make them basically butted together. That's what we're doing right now, coming off the indirect tank. We've got just a couple 45s to snake around the drop line going in, our a supply line, or a return line actually, for a bench I have in my upstairs. Confirming pump spacing and a few other things. I think we actually look at this and we turn this all around at one point. I think at this point we realize that we've got a pumping issue if we were going the way we were originally planned. So we want to make sure that we pump away from our expansion tank that you see on the top right, so that we don't create an issue with that. For this small of a circuit, it probably wouldn't have been a problem, but we get the pump sorted, it's installed, and now we're piping down to that bottom side of the indirect. And this is where we get to use the longest piece of pipe in the whole thing. I think it's a 17-inch piece of Aquatherm there. I would have loved to show off more, but this space just ended up being tight for it. So we get all that, all the Aquatherm installed. Again, a little bit of some creative heating and movement of the line, get it all snugged up.